After Port Maitland's Legion branch shut down a few years ago, a community group formed to ensure Remembrance Day would always be marked. While their ceremonies generally draw crowds of well over 250 people, this year, of course, will be different. Jerry Curry is our community contact for Yarmouth County and a veteran of the Canadian military. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning. How are you, Portia?
I'm doing just fine so far. How about yourself, Jerry?
Just fine. I just wanted to let you know for Louise, I can't believe how bright the stars are down here. It's just, you could reach out and touch them.
Nice. Oh, lovely.
So the fog's not getting in your way there?
Not here.
Great. Well, it's very, West Pubnico, different scene, apparently, just down the road.
That's where they make the fog and keep it down.
There you go.
You and Laurent are on the same page there. Well, Jerry, wondering how this group came together when it looked like Remembrance Day ceremonies might be in a bit of jeopardy in Port Maitland.
Yeah, well, as you know, pretty well most places in Canada, the Remembrance Day services are conducted by the Legion. And the Legions are getting smaller and smaller as veterans passed on, and our Legion closed about 3 or 4 years ago. And the chaplain of the Legion was the one that really started the ball rolling. And we put together just a civilian committee to keep it going, because it's so important. When you read the list and we read the list every Remembrance Day of all of the veterans that served from World War I on, it's just unbelievable. From such small, very, very small fishing communities, how many people volunteered and served. And we need to keep that alive.
Yeah, just because the numbers of living veterans are declining, it's still so important to remember those incredible sacrifices. And so the group is making sure that Remembrance Day services will happen, and we'll get to how they'll be different this year. But there's also been some changes. I mean, the group's trying to be more inclusive, too, in recent years. And how are they doing that, Jerry?
Yeah, and it's sort of a little peccadillo of mine too, because I am a veteran, and in some circles, if you were not a war veteran, you're not a veteran, and that's certainly not how I see it. It's not how most veterans today see it, and it's not how the government sees it. The government the Department of Veterans Affairs considers a veteran as anyone who served in the Canadian Forces, completed basic training, and was honorably discharged. If you fit that bill, you are a veteran. Doesn't matter if you never left the country. You're a veteran, and that's the way I look at it. And today, in our area, we have one World War II veteran left. And if you're going to keep Remembrance Day going, then, the mind is a funny thing. We look at tangible evidence, and if we don't see those people, we don't have any World War I veterans anymore. People don't think so much of World War I anymore. The same thing will go World War II. Korean veterans are all in their 80s and 90s now. So, we now need to look at what they call the Cold War veterans. I'm a Cold War veteran. We need to look at the peacekeepers. And we'll need to look at the people who are, the way I like to say it is, the people currently serving the Canadian Forces, they are serving in your name. And they are veterans, and they need to be remembered as well.
Yes, and needless to say, this year, after the crash of the Cyclone helicopter, their sacrifices will be front and center in many people's hearts in Nova Scotia.
Absolutely. And of course, here as fishing communities, we see search and rescue all the time, so we see helicopters all the time, and and I'm a Navy veteran, so it really brings it home.
Yeah, I bet it does, Jerry. So there this year, how is the ceremony going to be different, given that we can't gather in big crowds this time?
Well, yeah, different communities are handling it differently. I understand there are actually communities that are actually going to have a Remembrance Day ceremony completely online. What we've done is we've created a Facebook group, and I've created a couple of videos that are posted on the Facebook group, because not everyone has Facebook, so the videos are on YouTube and they're linked on Facebook. And the key parts of the Remembrance Day service, and just hints on how to remember in the privacy of your own home. are there for all the residents. So one of the things I do every year is I give a message out which talks to moving forward and looking at who veterans are, and I actually talk about what people are doing today that are currently serving right today as we're standing there. And of course I couldn't give that personally, so I did it virtually.
So I just watched it, Jerry, and yes, you look swell in your uniform too, I must say, in the video, but also talking about the service, search and rescue in the Arctic, for example, and how this year, because of the pandemic, some of the wartime mottos, such as keep our heads down and do what we're told, apply maybe even again in a new way.
I can't think of a better, as I say in my video, I can't think of a better thing to look at in a pandemic is to keep your head down and do what you're told.
So what does Remembrance Day mean for you as someone who's served and is also trying to help keep those memories alive for people?
Well, I think a lot of us who served will tell you that, there is no Remembrance Day. Every day is Remembrance Day. There's something that will twig on you every day. You see a helicopter or a military aircraft fly overhead, or there's a piece in the news about something that's happened somewhere, and it just takes you there. In my career, Alert in the Northwest Territories, I spent 6 months in Alert. I spent 6 months as a peacekeeper on the Golan Heights in Israel and Syria, and I chased submarines in the Atlantic and the Pacific. So, these things, they're always with you. I mean, when you join the forces and you spend a career in the forces, you become a person apart, and it's much like the knights of old. You dedicate your life and you serve in a different world until you get released and you come out. So it really changes the way you think forever.
And you would have grown up in this kind of mindset, I suppose, given that your family is connected to both of the world wars.
Yes, my dad, as an example, my dad was a deck officer on the Boston Yarmouth line, the transportation link between Boston and Yarmouth. And the day Canada went to war, he walked off the ship and joined the Navy. And at the end of the he served as a communicator during the war, radio communicator.
Oh, really?
And at the end of the war, he was offered a commission, and he stayed in the Navy. So, I've been in the Navy all my life. So.
You can come by it quite honestly.
Yes.
And your grandfather served in World War I, Jerry?
My grandfather was in the Army in World War I as well. Yes.
A huge contribution, so I want to thank you, and I know our listeners do as well, for your family's service.
Well, it's I did it because it's what you do, and I appreciate it very much when people come up to me and say thank you, but I'm kind of humble about it.
As you are, Jerry.
It's embarrassing in some ways.
Jerry, that said, you do have done this video, and where can people find that?
I think you'll probably publish the link on, the link names are too long to actually stay, but I think on your Twitter account, if you publish them, you can get they can get to the Facebook group, and both videos are there linked on the Facebook group.
All right. We will do that for sure in just a moment. Well, Jerry, thank you again for this conversation today, and for all that you and your family have done. And all veterans, it's good to talk to you on this day.
Yes, it's a pleasure to talk about this, because it's really, really important that we never forget.
Thank you, Jerry.
You're welcome. Bye, Louise.
Bye, Jerry.
That is Jerry Curry. He's our community contact in Yarmouth County. Tomorrow, Moncton's going to bring you a Remembrance Day broadcast for the Maritimes with host Jonna Brewer. It's going to focus on the role that music has played in wartime, from recruitment to comfort. And then on Thursday, we'll be back with our community contact from Canso.